Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. In the beginning of the Robotech series, the main bad guys were known as the Zentraedi. The Zentraedi were a genetically engineered race. They were engineered by a group called the Robotech Masters. They were made to survive harsh environments for mining and building purposes that would be devastating to a human-like being. And they were built in a way so that they could go through a process called micronization so that they could visit with their human-sized masters and so forth, and then be returned to their normal height of about 60 feet tall to go back to work. And they were engineered as a labor force, and they were very good at it. Well, when protoculture was discovered and stolen from the Invid, they went to war, and the Robotech Masters in the Invid, and the Zentraedi were quickly converted over from a workforce into a civilization of warriors that were very good at killing and destroying because of their genetic enhancements, but they were kept in the dark about how to actually fix their gear. They might have been masters with their gear and using the technology they had, but they couldn't fix anything, and so were therefore completely dependent on the Robotech Masters. Well, eventually, the SDF-1 was stolen from the Robotech Masters and sent to Earth. So these Robotech Masters sent the Zentraedi after it, and that began the war between the humans and the Zentraedi. Eventually, the Zentraedi lost, and they actually wound up joining up with the humans and fighting the Robotech Masters. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that. But in this video, you might have already guessed, we're going to talk about the Zentraedi with the Robotech Book 3, the Zentraedi. This book has 48 pages and a copyright of 1994. This is the 5th printing of the book. It was published by Palladium Games, and all of the artwork in this book is in black and white, and it's pretty good. So let's go ahead and look at that artwork. This is the first picture we see when we open the book. All of the artwork in this book is in black and white, and it's pretty decent, giving us a pretty good look at all the Zentraedi tech, as well as a pretty good look at just who and what the Zentraedi are. To use this book, what you're going to need is, of course, a copy of this book and a copy of the core rulebook for the Robotech role-playing game put out by Palladium. You also need a full set of dice. A full set of dice containing a 20-sided die, a 12-sided die, preferably 2 10-sided dice for rolling both percentiles and tens, an 8-sided die, a 6-sided die, and a 4-sided die. Now, this book, it doesn't go into as much detail about the Zentraedi's history as I did at the beginning of my video here, but it does give you a very good look at the mentality and the mindset of the Zentraedi as a race and so forth. Like, when they showed up to Earth, they were just totally blown away that the males and the females of the humans actually interact. That doesn't happen with the Zentraedi until after they've become tainted by the humans in their culture. But this book goes into a little bit more detail on how to build a player character Zentraedi. Now, it gives it the playing a Zentraedi character as an option in here, and gives you the basic rules to get you going. And that's perfectly workable. In here, they get into more detail. They give you brand new OCCs, which are occupational character classes, for Zentraedis. There is the Battle Pod Pilot, the Zentraedi Fighter Pilot, and the Zentraedi Officers. And these are new OCCs that you can apply to the Zentraedis. It also gets into some detail about how to build the Zentraedi's attributes, because their attributes of character creation are figured up a little bit differently, and that's fine. It gives that information in here, which is cool. It also gives you the rules for the micronization process that Zentraedis can go through, and the stats and so forth that you apply if you are going to play a full-sized Zentraedi, which is very helpful. It also has an optional rules table in here, optional character creation table in here, like in the core rulebook. It gives you optional tables for only your character's backgrounds, such as his country origin, number of siblings he has, and hair color, eye color, and so forth. It has a similar chart in here, but geared for the Zentraedi instead of humans, which is very cool. It's got all the extra equipment and mecha for the Zentraedi that you could want, which is nifty. It gives some very detailed rundowns of the Zentraedi starships, which is very helpful. It's even got some blank character sheets that you can photocopy and use, which is always a bonus. And in the very back of the book, it's got some write-ups for some notable personalities amongst the Zentraedi, such as Lord Dolza, Chiron, Azonia, Britai, and Exor. You know, some of the main characters from the Robotech cartoon show. And that's really about it. It's just more equipment and stuff for you to more flesh out your Zentraedi in your game, and information to play them as player characters, more so than what's in the core book. And that brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character using the information in this book? And I'm going to have to say yeah, because the Zentraedi are pretty cool. It'd be neat to play one in a game. Would I run a game using the information in this book? Again, yes. It's got some really good information about the Zentraedi. Now, it doesn't go as much in detail as you'd like for their whole history, but it gives you enough that you have more than what you had. Would I recommend this book? And if you're going to run the Palladium version of the Robotech game, I would say that book is very, very high on the list of books that you want to get for your Robotech game. It's very useful, got lots of nice information in it, and can really help you if you have players that are wanting to play a Zentraedi character in your game. And it goes over a bunch of the same rules that are in the core book, but it adds so much to it. And that's pretty much all I have to say for the Robotech Book 3, the Zentraedi. Thank you for joining me and a look at this book, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.